Transition.
Hello everybody and welcome back to some more Titan esports action here in the Immortal division. My name is Jay Better and I am joined that side by Aussie. Today we are watching Dancing with the Stars against DeathMark Esport DME. We've already seen Dancing with the Stars so far this season, but we haven't had a chance to catch up with DME. And it'll be first on the agenda tonight. Aussie, how you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, of course, we missed both of us on the cast last week. You know, someone was asleep and the other one was in the hospital. So,
I mean, one of those is definitely more reasonable than the other one. But we were both solo losing matchups.
True.
Losing lane.
Yeah.
It happened.
It was rough. But you know, we're back and hopefully here to stay for the remainder of the split. Both these teams kind of battling it out for middle of the pack in their group. They are Group B teams. Syndicate has been the only team today to take a game off of Dorado Gaming Alpha, which is in the number 1 seed at the moment. And this is crunch time, Jack. We are past the midway point. of the split overall. So that means it's basically the whole time for like learning who you are as a team, that it should be done. You should just start ramping up towards playoffs and basically showing what you have. Is other teams are not going to treat you lightly because again, they all want to get into playoffs, work their way towards finals. So we'll see if that's feasible for either of these two teams here today. But we have a graphic here for you. As so made up from ourselves. It was going to be happening last week, but we had to, of course, push it back. And now we're back. So here's our week 5 keys to success. And this is what I'm going to dub as support week, Jack.
Yep. I like the little icons. I did watch you make this, but it does look a little cleaner than last time with some little smiley faces. Some champs to pick and ban away. This week we have Karma, Bard, and Seraphine. Now these are picks, Aussie, that are banned often. We want you to pick often. Aren't super underrated, as we'll get to that in a little bit, but still high priority.
Yeah, of course. Focus on the Bard, though, because it does seem like Immortal supports really aren't willing to pick this when it's open. Karma is literally the #1 priority champ, and we talked about her last week, right? So I don't want to beat that horse dead. But still remaining her #1 presence overall. In fact, she's also the highest ban champion in the league, almost having a 60% ban rate in every game. But for Bard, really unique support, right? Like you have a lot of utility, a lot of things, and even though his damage just got nerfed, you're not picking Bard for his damage. You're picking him for all of his, utility in his kit. Most notably the Tempered Fate, being able to catch people off guard, and the magical journey as well. But yeah, that's our focus here for this week. We want to see you guys pick Bard up. Again, it is kind of hard champion, and you're probably thinking like, oh, I don't want to put the time in. Well, Bard's been strong enough for long enough that I think the excuse of I want to put the time in is no longer relevant. So
yep, one of those supports. If you're watching MSI, and if you're watching some potential teams give over Bard to a certain other team and lose the game because of that, then you know what I'm talking about. If you aren't watching MSI, what are you doing? Why are you not watching MSI? Some two underrated supports. This is not necessarily something where it's like these picks are always amazing, pick them first like the other ones might have been, but some supports that we haven't really seen played a ton and we still think are quite valuable in certain situations.
Yeah, we got Lulu, Rel, Soraka. We'll touch on Lulu as a primary focus this week, but to talk about the other two, Rel is kind of risen up as more of a premier engaged support. Right now, #1 engaged support is Nautilus, but I personally believe the second one in that is Rel. I think overall she's just in a great spot right now. You have a lot of team fighting, and as it turns out, team fighting comps are kind of the meta. You don't really have a lot of those like weird split drafts anymore, right? Where even like the roaming mids have kind of fallen off realistically for the most part. So having something like a Rel to boost your team fight is great. And then Soraka, I think Soraka's in a good spot right now. I think she's a niche champion. So even though, yeah, she's underrated, I do think she's niche. You do need to pick her smartly. We have seen success when that has been picked smartly. But talking about Lulu now, I mean, this champion just is the prime enchanter usually during enchanter metas. And actually, she was missing in this last enchanter meta, believe it or not. So, but Immortal stats are pretty good. She hasn't been picked a whole lot, nor has she been banned a whole lot, but a lot of her 80 carries that she can shine with, especially, you can also slot her in with something like an on-hit Varus, now that that's being played more often, right? Because you can Whimsy the on-hit Varus. Zeri is starting to come back into the meta, which, Zeri Lulu is not that bad. You have, Zeri Yuumi, kind of the prime, but if you don't want to play Yuumi, you still have the Lulu. Lulu's also great at shutting down Dive. Dive is pretty strong right now, as it turns out. Something like Camille, which we have been seeing at MSI in support.
I don't watch that MSI thing.
Lulu is actually pretty good into that. So, talk to me about our last point, Jack.
Yeah, so we've got some objective setup priority that we want teams to look at. Ward icon next to that. So with a focus around how you set up your fights, where you approach from, how you push out your lanes, and the way that you look to take objective fights both Baron and Drake / Herald / Grubs. Been seeing a little bit of lane swapping and MSI to get Grub priority, which is an opportunity as well if you do get a good timer for that. Sacrifice a little bit of that quest progress, but something that teams are happy to do. Grubs seem to be a very high priority in tier 1 at the moment, to make sense to, give a little bit in terms of the quest get those grubs. But I believe we don't have too much longer before we get into draft. So we've touched on a couple of the things here. You mentioned it a little bit, and I want to talk about it now since we've got a moment. The Camille priority is also really rising up. Camille Ziggs, Camille Mel, another thing. And with that, the Ashe Seraphine's kind of coming down a little bit because that seems to have been quite a good answer into the Ashe Seraphine that's dominated all of this year so far. So we'll have to see if any of our teams tonight, what they want to go towards in terms of their bot lane priority.
Yeah, I'm curious what's the priority in general is going to be, because it looks like DeathMark is more focused around giving Paradox a good matchup. So Paradox being the mid laner. I think overall for DME, like for them, their key to success is through Paradox, right? Like they're putting a lot of priority in getting Paradox a good champ that he's comfortable on, like Ahri, like Syndra, right? Those kind of mages to try and take over the game. Although it hasn't been the most successful so far in this split, it's still been something they've been really focused on doing. Something to give criticism for DeathMark Esports, though, is, of course, I was perusing their drafts, getting ready for today, and I saw an R5 Vi. In what world do you ever save R5 for not only a jungler, but a Vi of all things? Usually not the best uses of R5. And speaking of red side, DME really loves red side. Like the majority of their games, they end up on red side. So we'll see if that trend continues today.
Yep, they're on it right now. Taking a look at the bans here in this first game. Gwen Thresh for Syndicate so far. The Orianna banned away from DME. Now this is not too different from standard, where on blue side you get a little bit more wiggle room and some target bans, and on red side you need to ban away some of these really high priority first picks, the Poppy ban signals, potentially something like a Vi early for Syndicate, and DME continuing with this strong jungle mid combos with the Orianna, the Nocturne, and the Jarvan ban. So Syndicate here with their first pick. Again, those mid jungle duos, a little hurt, but you can still go towards some. It's actually going to be the Camille first.
Yeah, Animosity plays this, so it's actually a good flex pick here for Sen. Mm-hmm. Something that I'm kind of shocked by that hasn't been picked up in tier 1 is utilizing the flex pick of Camille, right? Like slotting her into what could be a good matchup for her top lane. Granted, those are few and far between, so it is kind of harder to do that. But we're actually going to see the Braum. I've been curious to see how this matchup goes, if this is going to be Camille support, because I believe Braum is actually an incredible answer to Camille. Of course, Braum more anti-melee support than majority of other kind of tankier supports are. I like the Hui takeaway, or Hui pickup here for Zhao Nani, and Richard in the jungle. I also like that DME have kind of prevented the Nocturne from getting through, because, Sen really like these like global style comps where they're using like a global style jungler with the Nocturne, with the Pantheon, right? So Richard not getting that makes sense, and the Jhin I'm not so happy about, but with the kill threat from Camille by herself, I think Jhin Camille could actually start rising in priority in tier 1 as well. I think that's kind of slept on, especially against like Caitlyn lanes. But we'll see regardless, as it will be the Ambessa prio here for DeathMark Esports. And it looks like Sen have done their homework, disallowing the Ahri from Paradox. So good job on Sen for recognizing that.
Yep, Vi's still available, something you touched on before, so that pairing as well will be taken away. I was kind of expecting Syndicate to maybe hold on to a Hui flex, but instead just wanting to prioritize both of their carries. Both of them are mobile, but both of them having a ton of range, which does work well with the Camille dive. So I could see Syndicate go towards some more dive here, as it is an Aurora locked in here for DME, waiting on their jungle last pick, which again, it could be a buy. Something that you weren't super happy with in previous weeks. But Syndicate, it's a nice weak side top laner here, cementing Camille's support.
Yeah, should be. I mean, honestly, something that's interesting to say the least about the meta is Aurora has also kind of fallen out of the meta completely, and it will be that Pantheon jungle. So DME, I'm really shocked at them banning Xin Zhao here.
Yeah.
Because again, Richard opting for Pantheon in majority of drafts, we actually see like Xin Zhao priority from them be pretty low. So I'm really shocked that they're opting to give the Pantheon this game. Because you look at like your side lanes, and while Aurora is kind of slippery with her ultimate, like all it takes is the Aurora's just in a bad spot, and this Pantheon is killing her in the side lane. And Bessa also will fall victim in the side lane to something like a Pantheon if he's able to hover there. Especially with the strength of the Camille roam, which is what's been popping up in MSI, is this champion gets a natural lead because she's just so oppressive early on in the lane, and then she uses that to just go roam mid or go roam top, and they're diving your top laner with an absurd amount of damage because they're playing Hail of Blades. I mean, Sin's comp here is fantastic, although I do worry a little bit about the gen in this game. I think if the Aurora can actually get that backline access, they don't really have a whole lot to prevent that from just snowballing the backline. But regardless, I think Sin have a better comp here.
Yep. I think there is quite a lot that Braum can do in a game like this, so we'll have to see how that does go. But yeah, I think Syndicate have a lot of playmaking options. They have a lot of tools to go forwards as well, which again into a Braum can be a little bit scary. But I think it's on Syndicate to set the pace this game, like you said, get an aggression through bot, roam with this Camille around the map. Yeah, a lot of Camille getting played recently in MSI. It's a champion that has really changed the meta of how the game goes. That's enough for us on the desk. We're going to jump into game number 1 between Dansyn with the Stars, DeathMark Esports, and nothing too crazy going on here so far. Is he just a little bit of poking in the mid lane, looking for a ward potentially, but won't end up happening. So both teams will just go back to some normal laning.
With the Mbessa pick as well, Dumi, like really prio, like Ari, Syndra, and Mbessa kind of in their like first round usually. Definitely maybe need to work on having less predictability, right? Because that being a trend in literally every single series is something teams are looking out for. It's why the Ari got banned this game, right? Even though Zhao Danny plays a fantastic Ari himself. I think when you are like playing these drafts and you're playing against teams, you definitely need to like kind of come away from being predictable, because it allows your opponents to kind of draft around your strategy, right? Like these trends of they're always prioing Mbessa, they're always trying to find like Ari or Syndra, right? In this game, of course, they end up dropping that for the Varus so they can get get the Varus and take that away from Syndicate. As far as still a fantastic blind pick 80 carry. Not poke anymore, but on hit. So I just personally, if I were coaching this team, I would try to have different draft strategies in terms of each week, so that way there's no common trend for teams to plan around.
It makes sense. I agree. Taking a look back in how this early game has started. And pretty slow. Just junglers clearing opposite sides. A little bit of trading here in the mid lane from Hui. There's nearly a solo kill, actually. Very close there. The pot ticking ends up helping a lot from Paradox. One auto could have done it. But yeah, not the best start in mid here for DME. CS isn't too bad, but you're losing quite a lot here as that wave gets pushed on the tower. Does have TP to get back to lane, but pretty good laning so far from Syndicate.
Yeah, pretty rough as well for the Aurora, right? Getting bullied out on a champion that historically really loves the snowball and actually have the pressure in the lane just due to the amount of damage she's able to put out, thanks to the electrocute as well. This Nute is going to get ganked, but that's going to be thwarted thanks to a really well-timed ward. But Wave State's in a pretty abysmal spot. Kind of uncomfortable there for Nute, but going to be able to at least stave off the gank, but does take a lot of damage from that trade from Animosity there. And the Wave State's still in a horrible spot here.
Yep,
So this
look
is
mid
going to
right
be a
now.
best of. Ooh.
This is a big three-man collapse here onto Paradox in the mid lane. Flash is used. The exhaust comes through. Sorry, the ignite comes through. That's first blood onto Mellow. You were talking about the Camille roaming potential early, and we see it come through right here. Paradox already struggling quite significantly.
Yeah, this is a behind Aurora, which always feels bad. But again, we have talked about that first bloods don't mean anything. Animosity is getting pretty low here.
No
Playing
matter
with
either.
fire.
He just walks back up.
Just playing with fire there. Wow. I mean, knows the limits for sure. Even staying for this
Sure,
wave.
sure. We could say that he that was all
Hey,
calculated.
hey.
Calc, chat. Calc is short for calculator. By the way, I'm just using slang. But yeah, animosity got the calc on that one.
Dude, what are you waffling about,
Do
bro?
you know that joke? Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
Oh, he's not a knower of
I'm not.
everything.
I'm not a knower of everything. You're right.
Well, okay.
Um,
Oh, like you just don't. I'm not gonna do the bit again. I was. Gonna... anyway,
anyway, back into the
that
game, Jack. You
I'm
know,
hoping someone else knew that joke, but not Aussie. Someone else,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
someone with a little bit more knowledge. But pretty big gold lead in the mid lane. Jungle as well built up a pretty decent individual lead for these two parts. And I was talking about mid jungle synergy a little bit in draft. Some of those pieces getting banned away. Pantheon Hui is not necessarily the most common pairing that we see, but
Oh,
there's a ton of CC between the two. Paradox catches the ult, doesn't do a ton of damage just of yet, as Hui's taken a pretty decent chunk of his own health, but Mello is around. Doesn't have the flash available, so this would need to be an overstep from Paradox, as Krovos is doing the dragon, and Pantheon will just walk away.
yeah, doesn't find anything. Also, he's now pathing towards top, which won't find a dive against the Ambessa. That would be pretty ambitious, I won't lie. Especially this is a post-6 Ambessa, so that's even worse, trying to dive that. But regardless, kind of slower start here for these teams. Usually we see a lot of fist fighting for no gain. But slower approach here for both teams. First Drake going over to the DeathMark is quite nice, even though the Aurora has been placed behind quite significantly in this early game. It does buy them some time to maybe help this Aurora catch up in the future, because again, that's just 5 minutes. You don't need to worry about Soul, although Aurora combo there will go wide, as Xiao Danny is just chain clearing these waves. Also has the tier, so it is going to be the Seraphs eventually here for the way.
Yep. At the mid visit, but no ult for this Camille, so it'll just be a little bit of vision, a little bit of warding as she walks over a ward, walking back to the pit there. No one actually pinged that out, but I assume that they know she's going there. So that's fine. And we've been seeing the Camille roam a lot more than the Braum. There we go. I don't know why I always think of Bard instead of Braum. Anyway, which is not necessarily that unexpected. You see a level lead for Campo right now, but you haven't really put Jin behind at all, as it's really hard to do that. So you're like getting out rotated and then also not really building a ton of advantage in the bot lane. So that's going to be a bit scary as the Pantheon ult lands down. The CC chain is good, but Campo pretty tanky with that shield up. Doesn't matter. He'll still fall down. Really nice gank here as the curtains open up. Ignite is down as well. Really nice shots here from Legacy. Will land onto Duck, and that'll be a 2-for-0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, just really good gank. and usage of the Grand Starfall coming out of Richard as, I mean, this is a 2-kill Pantheon. The Pantheon, of course, great at stealing kills, thanks to the Comet Spear, but overall, Dansyn with the Stars having a phenomenal early game, really playing around their strengths with the Camille and Pantheon kind of playing together. And, we actually kind of had this conversation, I think, the other day where, talking about support jungle, like duo. I think
Yep.
it was with some of your friends, but regardless,
Mm-hmm,
that
mm-hmm.
like that being a really strong thing in games,
Yeah.
and right now taking over the game here for Dancing with the Stars is Krovos really has yet to make an impact. Although you can see the CS lead here for the Wukong, so I would like to see that maybe utilized in some way. Because again, your value as a jungler, especially picking something like Wukong, is not on how much CS you have, it's by how useful you are in fights and also on ganks. And so far, there's been
Yep.
none of that happening. Just been farming, but again, not necessarily the easiest game to find ganks on. Play
Mm-hmm.
can pretty easily shut you down. Your reward doesn't really set you up in any way for that. So also Wei just naturally perma like wave clearing and then walking away. It makes that really hard. You're not really going to want to try and send Wukong into the Scion because that's almost useless, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so maybe it is looking at a bot dive here while the Camille's on some kind of roam to get
Mm-hmm.
something going here for DeathMark. But overall, they're down almost 2,000 gold here, which is pretty disturbing at 10 minutes, to be honest.
It doesn't feel too good. There is also the range advantage that Syndicate have in the Hui and this Jin. Now, Wukong is a jungler that's pretty good at closing that gap, being surprising out of brushes and off of vision, and then having that, movement to get onto the back line, and then once he's there, to stay there, especially if he has flash available. Dragon, in 50 seconds, DME were able to get the first one, but with the priority through lanes, the base is coming through for DME right now, and Wukong hovering the top side. The river control is all Syndicate right now. This is something we talked about in the pre-show. Having a setup like this where you've just constantly got waves pushing in, good vision to the Paradox goes invisible. It's a pretty decent chunk down onto Hui. That's about half health
But look at the
with those
boys.
two
They're on the way
abilities. But
here.
Paradox hits the ult and Debonar goes in with the ult
Oh,
cancelled.
Paradox!
Yeah, really well played by the support of Syndicate right here. Paradox struggling still, and that should be Dragon over pretty easily for Syndicate.
Paradox, crucially, actually just over flashes his wall there.
Mm.
I mean, that is a really tragic mistake, but again, DeathMark Esports are just watching their gank on the bot
Yep.
side.
Very proactive Syndicate is. Doesn't really land a whole lot here as Krovos is now around. Gap close onto the backline. Legacy chunk down. Campo is going to fall down as well, but there's a TP in from Hui to start the fight down the bot side as DME are actually finding wins here. Krovos does fall down, but Duck found one on the overextend from Mellow. The jungler dead from Syndicate as an ult up in top lane, forced to flash away. Animosity doing a pretty decent job right now and just doing a proxy. But pretty scrappy fight there from Syndicate down in the bot lane. Not super happy with how that went. I think they will be as Free Dragon was available, but instead they kind of overplay.
Yeah, Krovos, I mean, is in the right spot at the right time, thankfully. Also, is a really good Chains of Corruption from Duck to prevent initial W coming out of Richard. Because had that happened, that was an instantly dead Braum, right? Like, the Braum was guaranteed just insta-dead there, but it bought so much time. And of course, at that point, they had to already commit because they just used the Grand Starfall, right? And of course, Krovos just came over the wall. So they had to kind of commit. There was no getting out, but excellently played from DeathMark Esports to find something back in their pocket, although they will be losing this dragon, as the control still here has been towards Sin's favor. Another kill, though, picked up for Zhao Danny in that play. Makes this way that much scarier, as we are looking now towards the Herald as the next objective potentially to be fought over. Ultimately, should be a slow game until then. I don't really suspect anything to happen. Maybe a Grand Starfall play to get that on cooldown to try and use that for the Herald would be smart. That would be... Should be Camille out. No, hookshot?
Where's my E? Where's my E? Alt is used as well. A little bit confusing as to how that happened. Didn't get to see where the hook shot went, but it wasn't to safety is the answer. Massive lead in the mid, by the way. Pretty decent lead for the bot lane of DME as well, as here comes said mid laner. Gets ulted and Nate is probably going to be able to get out of here with the 6 billion dashes that she has. So a nice attempt, but thwarted. You used that word before. I was thinking about the pronunciation of this. You say thwarted or whatever.
Thwarted, you know.
Yeah, thwarted. Thwarted. Nice little stun here from Mello. Doesn't land the deadly flourish on top of the Wukong. Actually separates the fight massively. Campo with the ult as well. Maybe able to find a second one here as Krovos goes in further. Legacy under a threat of a redive, but looks like DME happy with just the two.
Yeah, I don't think they knew Krovos was there, actually. I think that was really, good usage of vision. Because what little vision control they do have, I mean, actually they know there's a ward in that bush and they don't have it warded. Interesting. Interesting stuff. But regardless, Dansyn with the Sen caught off guard by Krovos there. And it's a nice counter gank / dive coming in from DME to once again get something back in their pocket because again, Zhao Danny in this mid lane on the way, up quite a bit of gold. Nice little sum in the pocket there as once again they're going to try for the Zambesa and be unsuccessful. But overall, again, odd choice to even fight there. I think hovering the gen makes sense, but trying to force that play is kind of mind-boggling to me initially, because the whole point is to just prevent Jhin from getting dove. The goal is to not then try to make anything happen, because you're usually down numbers there, and they went a little bit too early for the Camille to have any impact there. But it is Animosity catching the spot lane wave.
That's one.
Okay.
He's taking a lot of health as well. Yeah, not super happy on the weak side right now. Even with the armor, you normally be feeling pretty good into an ADC, but Varus does quite a lot of magic damage, especially with the items right now. There's the ult and the curtains opening up, but the Braum shield is doing so much work in this game. There's a Wukong around the corner as well. He doesn't even need to be here as Animosity just falls.
Yeah. Again, a little bit of an overforce from Dansyn there, trying to prevent that tower from falling. We'll give over Rift Herald, so at the very least it is a 1-for-1 in that sense, but climbing back to gold and now finally DeathMark with a gold lead here in this game. Granted, that could be very easily mitigated here with the Herald usage. We have 125 on this next dragon spawning in here. We'll be third Drake of the game. No soul point for either team though, because we did go 1-for-1 on the Drakes. Paradox does ultimately get cancelled out on the recall, thanks to the Deadly Flourish. But regardless, I think Dansyn with the Stars, not getting the best usage out of their comp, but they're looking to make something happen on the top side.
Yep, but will this base be channeled in time? No, actually cancel. I think he had time to get out there. The ult comes through onto Mello. And it actually flush away. Feels pretty good here so far. And with the shielding coming through from the Eclipse as well. And now there's actually a collapse. DME closing the gap here. Krovos starts the fight out, takes a pretty decent chunk in return. But DME continuing to go forwards. That's a really nice ult from Paradox. And the health bars are taking a little second to go down, but it will happen. DME winning out on a fight. Krovos, you said he started out slow. Well, he's packing a punch now.
Yeah, they will lose their mid lane tier 1, but I think DME take that every time as long as Duck doesn't die. And Duck is dead, so...
Duck does die. Duck dies.
Unfortunate there for that play. Duck really having no reason to even try to defend this by himself. Good catch from Dansyn with the Stars, but back on the top lane play is Flash will not do anything there to that gen, as at least does force out the Flash from Legacy. But regardless, I think DME, right? They find the punish of the Pantheon Camille realm. They find the timing, they find the punish, and it wasn't really that well executed. They didn't really layer things that well. Zhao Danny wasn't even in range when the Hextech ultimatum came down. So by the time he got his EW down, the Hextech ultimatum was basically already gone, allowing Nute to get out. And then they kept trying to go, and in which it ultimately failed. And it will be the second Drake for DeathMark Esports picked up here for their Tier 1. Again, not the best vision control from DeathMark, but with how things are going, as long as they keep playing like this, punishing the Pantheon Camille, trying to find these plays, they'll be in an excellent position to propel themselves towards victory in game number 1.
Yep. And you were talking in draft as Campo forced a flash, but you were talking about this Braum, about how you think it's a really good answer into the Camille, and so far we have seen that. I think the Wukong actually does a pretty decent job as well. As we'll have to see how that goes again. This time Duck caught off on the side by the Deadly Flourish, and Mello goes forward. Legacy, does he have enough damage to chew through? Barely! It's actually a 1-for-1. Duck gets the kill first. Now Syndicate maybe in a little bit of a precarious position as Mello can't get the kill on the Campo, and Krovos has rotated over, and now this Camille is stuck in a pretty terrible position. They get Duck, but they lose 3 in return.
Yeah, just as I said, by the way, like every time this Camille Pantheon try to find any play whatsoever, it's immediately shut down, and I mean, they just don't really have the damage. Kind of target prioritization there wasn't that great either, as Animosity is dead under. Well, nice flash ult. We'll be able to go to safety as Campo, though, might be in some danger here.
Yep. Nice little punish here on the Campo is finally taken down a rung. Paradox as well takes a big chunk from the Severing Bolt. But if they can't kill Nutter, they're not getting a kill on the Paradox here as Camille goes forward, lands a nice stun onto Nutter, and there's the shutdown, but it's onto the Camille. Doesn't hate gold, but you would have loved it on the Jhin.
Well, Dansyn kind of fight back a tad bit here. DeathMark overextending around that play, get punished for it. A lot of shutdown gold actually going the way. And now gold is back sitting even. Jack is dancing with the stars. Again, they have been getting punished time and time again for Pantheon Camille. And I'm not quite sure how. Like, in this case, it's just they miss execute on Tadak, where they use the Hextech ultimatum onto Campo, but then they try to force the kill onto Duck, which makes no sense, right? They should have just ulted Duck and then killed Duck, and then it's a support, right? But in this case, right, where they're kind of split up, they're not getting the best usage out of their champions. They're getting punished every time, especially looking for the Symbessa. They tried to overload on the Symbessa quite a few times now, and it's not really worked out. In fact, it wasn't until just now Nute had died in this game. And that was off of the back of kind of an overplay in mid lane. And had nothing to do with any potential catch. That, again, maybe Sin should have been looking towards this Aurora, right? That was set behind so early on in this game. And now, coming back of her own, Chains of Corruption.
All right. Yeah, Devenor flash, but he's still going to get caught by the follow-up of the Chains of Corruption as well. Devenor isn't able to get out after he uses his ult and flash. DME maybe a little too far forward here, but they get the tower, and now the positions are great for them. As Animosity will be taken down. This Sion is struggling in this game. Big spiraling despair here on the Krovos. The Severing Bolt does miss, but the curtains open up. That's a one-shot hit, and Krovos has been forced to go back and forth, and now he's taken down as well. Baron potentially on the table here from Syndicate as they look that direction, but instead they'll just go back to some farming.
Ah, well, definitely not. Ooh, hold on. Going Starfall on top side.
Up on the top lane. Looks like that will be a kill onto the Varus. Yeah. And he's taken down. So maybe now we can go Baron. If we can get this kill onto Aurora in the mid lane, very likely Paradox instead will actually... I thought it was maybe out.
Very awkward.
Yeah, I thought he could ult backwards and then just flash and he was fine, but he kind of ulted into Hui.
Yeah, pretty awkward there, especially with the positioning of the Between Worlds. Unfortunately, gets punished there. No Baron, though, at least, but Dansyn with the stars, climb back and claim the gold lead once more in this game is some missteps by DME, and specifically, right, I think I talked about this about Duck in general. I think Duck's proclivity for getting picked out is quite high, right? Like, there's been multiple opportunities here for Dansyn with the Stars, even though it hasn't necessarily always gone their way, to at least pick out Duck. As now we are going to have this fight. It is soul point for DME.
Yep.
As teleport's coming through, as our first real 5v5 is about to happen.
Everyone has shown up to this fight. Syndicate have all their flashes. Duck's missing his. Not on a blast plant, sorry. Still waiting on the first engage, and it will be from Syndicate. Animosity charges headfirst into a shield. Camille over the wall, landing onto the Ambassador. Dragon's already been taken by Syndicate. Now DME marching forward.
They don't kill
With the Braum shield. Does do a lot of work here. It's only a 1-for-1 so far, but with Krovos down, maybe Syndicate can pivot over, but with Mello's health so low, not a possibility. So it's just a Dragon over to Syndicate and a 1-for-1. That felt like it was going to be like a massive fight, a big setup, but the trigger only kind of gets pulled and doesn't really result in a whole lot.
The thing is, ooh, alright, they're kind of setting a potential trap here for Zhao Daddy. Oh, look at the wraparound here.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than potential right now as Hui forced to flash, taken down by Duck as well. Nada tanking the tower the entire time. Duck takes one tower shot, but it'll be just fine. Really nice dive from DME.
Yeah, good stall as well off of what could have been a lot of gain tempo here from Dancing with the Stars. We'll slow that down at least, but talking about DME's comp, right? The only real engage tool they have is Cyclone from Wukong, right? And that was utilized in a 1v1 in the Drake pit against Richard, where Richard ultimately wins the Smite fight every time because Pantheon Q, right? Like that. The fact they're even trying to flip is insane to me. Like, I can't fathom trying to flip against Pantheon as Wukong because you're getting outsmited 99% of the time. That is just genuinely not worth trying to go for the team fight. Works out. Animosity, of course, playing the Scion, understands the role perfectly of just like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for this like play. And, oh, it's going to be Dute being looked at.
Kill. And there is a Camille here, but Syndicate might have an answer on the other side because Ambessa's really hard to catch, guys. And even still, despite having this, Syndicate lose positioning around the Baron. DME really thinking about whether they want to start this up. They will end up doing so. But now, again, Pantheon Q Smite is there. Paradox in a bit of an awkward position, gets caught by the Gaping Maw and just taken down by the ult. Mello now stuck out of position. Curtains have been opened, but the Pantheon is just too much. The Braum is too much for the Pantheon to deal with. Bit of an awkward, not the best setup from DME so far in the setups in this game. They start the Baron. They don't really have good vision. Paradox is like face checking the vision, then dies for it. Not super happy, I think, DME with how that's gone.
Oh, that's a little peekaboo there, but the biggest thing is they try to force us on the scuttle, right? I think the initial idea of like pulling members around the map is great, but then it's the commitment, right? Like they go to try and commit for this, and then they're forced in this awkward position where they have to try and fight to get themselves out, or just lose all control whatsoever. Is a little cheeky spot here from the Camille, not spotted just yet. He's on that control ward. Was looking for a duck play, utilizing the sweeper to try and see them over the wall. As that will be a base canceled. As actually catch hook shot.
Yep, Q will miss. That would have been the stun too. Maybe a kill. Chains of Corruption is just now coming off of cooldown. So if that play was 10 seconds later, let's say the stun hits and then the Chains of Corruption, that's a dead Camille very easily. So Devinor got to be a bit careful. A bit more careful, I should say, about in these little cheeky plays, as he was fairly by himself. But we're, coming up on 28 minutes. Gold is basically even for the game state, 17 kills each and 2 dragons each. It's a very, very close game. So this next fight around this dragon, around a Baron, if that starts up, can be very important. Similarly to the last one, but now both teams will be on soul point if they get this dragon.
All right, they do have at least river control. Oh!
The big flash engage on the Paradox gets his ult. And
Ooh.
quite a lot of health. Sorry, able to get out of the animosity, fighting 4 people in the mid lane and kind of winning so far. But everyone face tanks into the Braum ult. And Mello takes so much damage, does a pretty decent chunk back, actually. Goes into the GA. Animosity flashing back forwards. Mello with the res, Legacy by his side. And Syndicate winning this fight despite the start of it not looking super good. And now objectives on the plate, they can go to either one. It looks like they're going to go towards this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, well-earned Baron pool, at least for right now. Biggest thing is right, they force out the Aurora ult, so, their backline is completely safe against that. As Paradox does still need to be careful here. Able to at least avoid the Severing Bolt for now, but Baron going down pretty slow, but does start to speed up as Force Shot comes in, does quite a bit of damage now, as will be Baron. But Dancing with the Stars, right? They're utilizing the strength of the Scion, and I think it was you and I having a conversation, kind of not on the stream, but I believe the Ambessa and the Scion matchup is fake, because the Scion is just always valuable, right? Like, in this scenario, you're playing on Hit Forest as well, and even still cannot get through the Scion, right? Like, this is the job of the Varus. Campo is very deceased, it's looking like.
Yeah, he's very dead. No summoner spells. That's a dead Braum for sure. And it's probably dragon too. Probably a dead dragon.
Yeah, that's the whole point as well, given over, is Nute seeing the Gromp go down, but wow, this is really well played here by Dansyn. They actually don't even care about starting this. They're more worried about actually getting and utilizing the Baron to great extent here. So they will go back for this Drake, I'd imagine, after they break this tier 2.
Yep.
Or even rotate mid, grab that tier 2, and then finish the play with Drake, which smart macro decision actually coming out from Senna. They don't even need to rotate, so just clearing out some boards, pushing their waves. Man, I mean, this is now getting into a territory where, oh my god, Nute is just dead.
Is dead too. A lot of dead people around, and maybe some more as the curtains get opened up. The Gaping Maw, again, looking pretty good. The Chains of Corruption only lands onto one, and here comes the Pantheon into the backline. And he's dead too. That was a pretty care package delivery. I'm dead too. But Syndicate, looking to end the game potentially. Oh, Krovos actually doing so much work here in this fight. Paradox as well. So much damage. And you're praising the decision making from Syndicate. Well, they've just given over a triple kill. They gave over they did give over 4 of them as well. And Legacy dancing with the idea of maybe doing the dragon, just going to do that upgraded Scuttle Crab. I mean, a lot of dead across the board, but I think DME are pretty okay with that. Yeah,
I mean, they basically kill the Baron, and the one thing I was literally about to say as Nute ults himself in, because he's about to die, is that this is now in the territory of being an overstay, right? And that's exactly what it was. But Legacy, well, Legacy also has a smite button of his own. So
he's gonna force the bomb plant, I guess.
No,
okay.
Smart choice. Literally no reason to give that shutdown gold over for Soul Point, in my opinion. But DME, and it's pretty low percent, right? Because you have to blast cone over and guess the HP to try and get the Force Shot off in the first place, and Force Shot doing similar amounts of damage to Smite. Probably not fruitful, but this is a fruitful play.
Yeah, awesome to Devonar. It's taken a while. Nice Smite, okay. Very nicely played there, but now Duck is caught. Big knock up as well, and the Comet Spear will get the kill there and enough damage so the Campo falls. A bit confusing on the positioning there. very caught out, but now Hui taken down by the Between Worlds. Mistakes happening across the board so far in the end of this first game. And now Syndicate with no Baron looking to continue their siege from earlier, but they've wisened up just a little bit. And they don't over chase under towers. Remember, they still got that inhibitor down in the bot lane. But with no Baron, not able to continue this push. So this will give like a lot of gold over to DME with the inhibitor. Oh, sorry, the super minions pushing in, and they're not even able to break open another tower. But yeah, got to be a bit more careful on that positioning from the bot lane of DME.
Yeah, I mean, also this is a Varus build we saw come out yesterday, believe it or not. People starting to smarten up about getting lifesteal and that being Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster just being a better item than Bork is. And this should probably be Zanya's, I think, last. Okay.
Krovos, again, a little too far forward here. Campo trying his best, but some positioning issues continue for DME as now Syndicate marching forward the Grand Starfall as well. And Melo has the GA. Yeah, this is going to be the end of the game, most likely, sorry. Syndicate take down 3. The curtains open up. Paradox uses the trophy belt to get out of there alongside his ult, but now pushing into the base.
Yeah, it should be pretty solid end here. They have really no way of stalling this now. No ults. It would take a miracle.
Yep, miracle play or a miracle mistake, and Paradox will show us how that one looks as walks too far forward, gets taken down, and now Nada has no business being around here. It was a hard-fought effort from both teams, a back and forth, but Syndicate end up winning game number 1 off of the some poor positioning, I'll say, from DME time and time again. I think Syndicate will be happy to have that one over as it was very back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for DME, they started off on the back foot, and they started punishing the Pantheon Camille, right? Like, that was a... Yeah, like, that was a really big, like, comeback moment for them. It's, like, punishing the Camille, like, Pantheon trying to play together. But it's just the positioning errors, just time and time again for DME, that completely locks them up in this game to try and get anything done. There were multiple close fights where, had Duck not been initially caught out, right, where the whole team's trying to bail him out, that's a potential, like, team fight win. Even though we had some really solid, like, individual plays from Krovos and Paradox there on the Aurora, to try and get them back in this game, it just simply wasn't enough. Dancing with the Stars, calming down, even though they overstayed a little bit with that Baron there. You can see the dip exactly where that happened in the gold graph. But overall, phenomenal play from Dancing with the Stars, keeping their head on correctly, you know, not panicking, finding good plays, continuously breaking down the blueprint of let's keep trying to pick Duck. Because teams know, right, especially this far in, like, this is a, you know, weakness that Duck has. Duck constantly is in positions to get caught out, and Syndicate play that perfectly here in game number 1 to stave out a win.
Well, we'll have to look at how DME play with their positioning further into this series. If Syndicate continue to take some fights that are a little bit too far forward, a little bit too overzealous, Syndicate are able to win this first game off the back of some mistakes from DME. But if DME can tighten that up, Syndicate still had a very hard game 1. So we'll have to see how the rest of this series goes. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the draft for game 2. See you soon. Hello, welcome back, everybody. Some Titan Immortal action. Yada yada names. We're still the same people. Syndicate and DME currently playing off against each other. We are in week 5. So, like you said at the beginning, Ozzy, these are important matches, and we are wasting no time in said important matches as we jump into draft for game number 2. DME back on the red side yet again. They like red side. They have side selection. They chose it again. I imagine similar bans will be coming through unless DME want to give something over and then maybe take. But looks like with the Oriana ban, we'll be getting pretty similar bans.
Yeah, and something to note, you're looking here, you see Syndicate's 2-1 versus DeathMark is 2-2. Their Stasis Gaming Resurgence game, I believe, is a reschedule. So Syndicate did not play their game last week. Whether or not that was because of Syndicate needing or Stasis, I don't know. But maybe gotten some extra scrim time if it wasn't for Syndicate. Maybe they just picked up a scrim on that day. So they had a little bit more time to practice rather than having to be focused for a match. Of course, they'll have to make that up at some time in the future. But regardless, keeping the band strong here. Gwen, I think, is a great shout as well. In my notes, I have that written down. That's something specifically Nute has been, has pulled out occasionally from time to time. But again, I do feel like, especially, I will talk about that in just a second, because DME has had these like trendy drafts where they do basically very similar things every single draft every week. It has now allowed Syndicate to punish them by picking the Rumble because, we actually saw earlier on in the split DeathMark play an Ambessa game against the Rumble, right? So they bait the Ambessa out with the Scion to allow... That is an insane pick if that's true. That's an insane pick if that's true.
Okay. Yeah. The Scion gone, the Ambessa, like you mentioned, gone. So naturally, the third option into Rumble is Fiora. That's definitely a playable lane too. But yeah, Rumble, Tristana so far for Syndicate is something we've been seeing a little bit more. I think who played Tristana Rel in MSI?
It was
Team Liquid.
Yeah, it was Team Liquid.
Yeah.
It was
played it.
Yeah.
Looked pretty nice. The Rise is a bit of an interesting first pick here for me. You were talking a bit earlier about the roaming mids that haven't been getting prioritized as much. Rise obviously here first pick. And Xayah with no support pairing as of right now. A little bit worrisome. I think that she can really struggle without, specific supports. And this also could be Maokai jungle, could be Maokai in the support for Syndicate.
Yeah, of course, Maokai, if they don't even have to ban Rakan here, because if this could be Maokai support. Maokai support, great into Rakan. Other than the fact that you have that like small little niche of Rakan can abduct you if you W him, if the Rakan has fast enough reaction time. But that rarely ever happens, and they are literally just happy to give that up, because while I do think they have a decent dive, right? You're looking like, oh, Xayah's pretty good here. A, Tristan is going to outrange you, right? B, like, you're basically setting yourself up to get counterpicked, right? When you're picking something like Xayah this early. And, oh my god, it's Tristana mid. Zhao Danny pulling out the Zhao Danny Trist mid, and it's going to be Jinx. Jinx Lulu still available here. I think keeping the Maokai flex. Well, I mean, there's not really a whole lot of junglers, and it's actually going to be like coming through, which is pretty insane, because this, in my mind, opens up for Khan pretty easily. But yeah, I'm not sold on the Pyke this game. Personally, I think picking like even taking the Maokai support would have been fine. I think Lulu would have been a decent option as well. I think there's a lot of value here in the polymorph. But opts for the Pyke, so with a Jinx, mind you. Like, this is not like one of those aggressive bot lanes that you usually see, like a Caitlyn Pyke or something that can like really punish off of a Pyke hook. Jinx needs a lot of time to start doing a lot of damage. In fact, Xayah or Khan have a phenomenal all-in. So if you hook either one of them, the chances you end up counter-dying to that is actually incredibly high. So Debonair definitely needing to pull off a Keria-like performance here for me to even be convinced about this pick. But I think Zhao Danny having the Tristana here is pretty interesting. We'll see if it pays off.
Yep. As you jump onto the Rift for game number 2 of Dansyn with the Stars and DeathMark Esports. I think this is a great Lulu game. I don't want to touch this too much because, it didn't get picked. But it's great into the Rakan. It's pretty decent into the Xayah. Like, it's good against Zehen. Not bad against the Fiora, but yep. Instead, we're getting a bit of a crazy change up here with the Pyke. So we'll have to see how this bot lane goes. For me, eyes are on the bot lane, to be honest, and this top lane. This is a pretty crazy matchup too, as Animosity trying desperately to not let that Vital get procced, and will do so.
Yeah, of course, Rumble level 1, not the strongest, because stacking up heat is impossible. So they did make that change a very long time ago to prevent his level 1 dominance from being absurd, but usually starts taking over the lane level 1 or level 2 and 3. Whereas Fiora, kind of more of the scaling top laners, hook coming through. We'll miss. So Q start again. We have been seeing a lot of Xayah Khans actually double Q start rather than the W start, which I think in this lane makes a lot of sense. Jinx naturally going to outrange you with the rockets. Is Duck already down to half HP from them, speaking of. But trying to all-in level 1, pretty difficult on Xayah Khan in general. Because if you mess up, you're basically just losing your lane. So, not worth it in a lot of scenarios. And I do appreciate the Conqueror this game. A lot of people like autopilot into Lethal Tempo Xayah. I personally am of the opinion that Conqueror Xayah is better in the majority of cases. Oh, nice reaction.
Okay. Flash for flash. That will be a tool of Syndicate down. It's going to be harder for them to force the all-in, and not a ton of threat onto the Xayah. There's pretty decent trade from Shardani in the mid lane. So lane's doing pretty well so far for Syndicate. Having push in mid and bot, and with the CS up here, you can see that Rumble not doing too bad in the top lane despite getting pushed in.
Yeah, of course. Weakness of Rumble, right? Early needing to stack up the heat to trade it really efficiently. Funnily enough, there is some kind of like counter from Nute as they will find an engaged bot lane. Nice sidestep.
little bit of that all-in you were talking about, but won't end up being too important. Krivos on the top side. You can see Mello on the bot side here, potentially looking for a gank.
No
there isn't
flash
any
on Duck.
wards here for DME, but yep, like you said, no flash here for Duck. He's started pathing back already, but stun will miss, and that's just it. Flash away from Campo, and like you said, the abduct is really nice. Mello forced a flash away as well. Is Duck feeling pretty confident here? Stepping forward, takes a sapling to the face, and the slow will be enough. So even though Duck is moving forward, the chase is off. Unless you walk into a brush like that, but even still...
Oh my god, they're so confident. That's insane.
I don't know. Did we have no dash? I was like, yeah, he's fired, he's out, he'll just dash away. No, apparently not. Whoa, Grover's flash over the wall behind. We'll get Animosity's flash out. Pull back is nice. Won't amount to a whole lot. Man, what a fast start to game number 2.
Yeah, game number 2. Definitely far faster than what we saw last game. But I really want to highlight on Duck. You know, we're kind of giving him a hard time about getting picked out last game. But, well, Paradox forced the flash away there, and Ghost, actually, so won't have that, and does trade back some damage, but both summoner spells off the rise, definitely going to hurt in the future, but Duck playing that entire gank perfectly. Ends up, like, getting the root onto Debonair as he's trying to position himself to get the stun from his dash. And, of course, ill-timed W from Richard onto Campo there gets abducted under tower, forcing all flashes there needing to be burned outside of Legacies. Legacy kind of untouched, but then Debonair goes a little bit too far forward and does get punished, giving over first blood to the Xayah. Now, of course, you are playing a Jinx, right? Giving a kill over to Xayah is not necessarily the end-all, be-all here. And your team comp, funnily enough, doesn't necessarily need to hard dive you either. You can kind of play with your ranged advantage here a little bit before forcing fights to try and poke them down, utilizing the rockets. Also, utilizing like an equalizer, right, to put Duck in a really uncomfortable position later on into the game. But even still, DeathMark Esports in a good position. Nice traps, at least to dissuade a potential follow-up there from Legacy.
Trying. Syndicate are trying to get some aggression going through this bot lane. They've got a little bit of a CS lead, but that should even up once the wave gets caught. And even still, not too crazy. See a nice roam down here from Paradox, but that was pinged out. Does have the ult available, and will be spotted on that ward as well. So just looking for a timer in mid. Down a pretty decent amount of CS as well in the mid lane. So CSing both carry roles not super great so far. I mean, to be fair, Shardani is just kind of him, right? He's just Faker. Oh, sorry, he's Chovy, I should say, on the CS right now. I think he's nearly like 11 a minute so far, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Definitely farming well, and of course that attention onto Paradox. Certainly aiding that as well, so not bad. Stuff coming through is Campo is dead.
He's just dead. Yeah. Dead to ignite. Wow. Very nice play from Debonair. Finds the ignite, and it's gonna be it's gonna feel a bit bad. I can't lie.
Go for some vision. Unable to get that, unable to actually get the vision down, and then ultimately his Debonair will get Paradox.
Yep, cancelled. Nice cancel. No flash, no ghost. Paradox will be dead. But now Duck and Legacy fighting a 1 versus 1, and Legacy wins that.
Wow. So this is the thing, right? So DME's bot lane kind of refuses to rotate, right? Sorry, Campo refuses to rotate, also going down there. So it's constantly giving Legacy this like lead. Now, of course, it is traded back 1 for 1. But again, we're looking at the early game from last game. Right? The pressure was on Paradox. Campo is on a champion that is a phenomenal roam champion, right? It might be slightly worse than Pyke in terms of, like, the amount of distance you can cover quickly enough to roam. But when you're playing against the Jinx Xayah, unless you're just, like, hardcore forcing on Jinx, there's no reason to sit in the lane like this, because the whole reason Duck loses that is two things. Legacy hits a fantastic flash to avoid the Blade Collar damage from Duck. But it's also level 6, right? If the Super Mega Death Rocket wasn't there for the damage, Duck would have won that, right? Like, that was a winning play for Duck. Had those two things not happen. And even still, even with the level advantage, the only reason it was different is because of the Super Mega Death Rocket is jump forward from Xiao Danny in mid. Won't really find all that much, though. Just some poke damage onto Paradox. And yeah, unfortunately here for DeathMark Esports.
Oh, okay. Really nice double root. And Duck actually now finding his footing in this matchup like you were talking about. Gets a kill on to Debonair in the 1 versus 2. Very well played. Krovos doing the grubs as well at the same time. So winning on both sides of the map.
Yeah, no Drake start either, because they don't necessarily know where Krovos is right now. They will as soon as the scrub dies. Thanks to the global announcement. But yeah, really solid play from DME, and specifically Duck, right? Duck, I mean, has been playing well, right? The only real criticism of DME is Campo just not really wanting to roam as much. As now collapse in the bot side is happening.
Yep. Flush away from Campo, but there's the rocket onto Duck. Really nice collapse from Mello. Works out pretty well. Dragon is still available, and it has been for a while, but with the resets coming through, neither team going to be starting a bat up anytime soon, but a lot of gold getting put onto this Jinx. Duck did get the solo, or the 2v1 kill, I guess, earlier, but Legacy, if you're given a reset on this champion, there's a lot of damage from Rumble, Tristana, Jinx, so getting a reset might be able to tear through a fight.
Yeah, I think the appreciation as well for their comp is will be
oh, dash. I know you can dash over that wall.
Yeah, or a farm the champ himself has smited away. Those need to get out though.
Well, that's the equalizer down, and the flash forward, nice buffer as well from Krovos. Okay, I know you can W that wall. Don't know why he headbutted the wall and didn't go over. The target was over the wall, but maybe just a spectator dog. I didn't actually quite see it. I thought I saw him headbutt the wall. Either way, grubs over to DME. Looks like they might be passing down towards this dragon, or at least Krovos is going towards his bot camps. And the bottom of DME looking for a potential engage here. Really nice traps to interrupt the quickness movement from Legacy is crazy as well. And here's a TP in from Tristana. Xiao Danny now jumping onto Campo, who doesn't have any business being here anymore. The ult from Duck is used, but this will be a double kill over one of the 80 carries. And now Paradox is there taking a ton of damage from the Jinx rockets. Junglers are now pathing down, but DME have no business being here. Should be a dragon over at least, maybe a dive first, but Krovos is standing on the side, and Legacy is a little bit out of lower mana at least, so the Nature's Grasp will go, but a really nice hook. Mello under the tower should be able to walk away pretty much for free. Syndicate just playing better individually.
Yeah, I mean, they have been back to keep punishing Duck, right? And Duck is so close in all of these plays to like outplaying it or finding a kill to make it 1-for-1. But unfortunately, now this lead for this Jinx is just going to start spiraling out of control as DME, again, ooh, they do find Legacy, but Campo is pretty low.
I don't know if you want to be here, Duck. Another kill and a reset given over to Legacy, who is now chasing down for a double kill. There was that one
this one's cooked.
Well-played Zaya 1v2, but ever since then, just not enough vision, too far forward, Syndicate punishing you for those mistakes.
Also, something I really don't like is the Yuntals this game. I think this should be Stormrazor. Like, we've seen Stormrazor, Zaya, oh, great gang. Oh, kind of misplayed though. Doesn't matter.
Still, hook will hit, Paradox will fall down to the ult from Xiao Danny. A rocket for good cinematic effect down nowhere near the mid lane. Don't exactly know where that one was going. Maybe just some vision
It was
onto
for
the
the
dragon,
blue.
most
No,
likely.
it was for the blue. It was for the blue. It's boarded. He was trying to
He
steal
was
blue.
still in the blue.
He was
He didn't
going
get
for
it,
the blue
unfortunately. It was a
shield.
little late, though. Still no dragon setup. We're 13 minutes in. And Syndicate, despite being 10-3, just do not want to start up this dragon whatsoever. This is based on a ward. Probably just gets cancelled by a Q. Yep. We'll do so. And Debadon misses his Q, so no support item trade there.
Oh, there it is now.
Oh. A little too far forward here from Legacy, but there is the hook onto Xayah to help his ADC out. Demonor plays that pretty well. Look, it's getting a little bit jarring, this dragon thing for me. Would love some dragons.
Well, you know, I was going to mention about how we had a 2k gold lead at 10 minutes last game, and we have a 5k, you know, similarly, you know, 13, so... definitely not ideal here for DME, as who needs dragons when you can just keep killing bot lane, to be honest?
True. I don't need anything to progress the game more than gold, and we're zoning away from the bot tier 1 tower with the Nature's Grasp and an invisible... Pirate? What is Pike? I'm not sure, but I don't think DME care either. They'll find the tree and the pirate assassin spectral guy. Yeah. I don't need to tier 2, and they'll die.
Pike
A
is
Revenant?
Yeah.
What is that?
So same thing as like Nocturne. I mean, you played Lodal, right? He would be classified as a Revenant.
Okay, but
basically,
that's like a
so
species, right?
Pike got betrayed. Oh well, we'll hold that thought, Ciao Danny. Oh great!
Yep.
Oh my God, Jesus!
I think
Christ.
Paradox getting betrayed a little bit here as not a call up for the gank, but Shardani just does so much damage. A little bit too far here. Jumps into the grand entrance. Not walking away here, kicking down with a burn, but Krovos does a ton of damage. Syndicate, your jungler is doing the dragon. We don't need to be jumping at tier 1 tower for more kills.
Hey, but they got one on Paradox, and speaking of Paradox, kind of struggling in this game. Getting out-rotated by Tristana is kind of absurd, as Campo does have that battle dance to get to safety, but... Damn, I mean, this is basically the most disastrous start I think we've seen on Immortal yet, as Duck is dead.
What are we doing? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
That bomb damage was absolutely absurd.
Yeah, he's up a lot of gold. But
this one genuinely might just be cooked. Be honest, like their comp is not great in general. Because again, I talk about this a lot. Some teams really opt for this like individual performance, like comp style. This is very much that, right? With a Fiora top, you have the Zehen jungle, Paradox on the rise into a Tristana, right? That's very much you know, necessary for you to have a good performance. Oh, almost Paradox.
Okay.
But yeah,
what's happening in bot lane right now? There is something happening bot lane. I'm not sure if my eyes like what's happening in bot lane though. Not sure how we're here.
Well, we gotta, you know, we gotta. We're having some fun, man. We're having
fun. We are having fun. I'm having fun at least. I'm not sure if the people. I'm not sure if everyone in this game is having fun, but.
I mean, they're just losing everything. Am I crazy? Like, yeah, they got a kill. Like, Paradox getting run down 1v3, like 1v2, by the way.
Legacy, your team isn't here. Your team isn't here. Okay, nice flash. Get away from Krovos, and there's no way he lives that. There's no way that he doesn't die. Legacy hands over his support so that he can farm damage, I guess.
I mean, he was really close to just popping off there. I think maybe some minigun action onto Campo would have been the difference maker, but... Oh my god. How is that legal? Like, this is the game state we're in, by the way. The fact that that is even remotely livable by Jinx by yourself is absurd.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, this one is cooked, and as much as I'd love to cope for DeathMark, I genuinely do not see a way that their comp is coming back into this game. Unless like Nute just goes insane in the side lane somehow. Like that's basically the only thing they're holding on to. And Animosity has had no problem just clearing the way. So.
Yep. And now Syndicate back inside of DME's jungle. Legacy still with the schmoves, not getting hit here, and Mello taking a lot of damage, but the engage from DME, they just get nothing. They get absolutely nothing.
Oh, Legacy kind of on a masterclass, you know, looking at that bot play that happened earlier where the movement, right, where he sidesteps the grand entrance and then doesn't avoids getting charmed there with excellent trap placement initially to stall the engage. And Legacy's been playing pretty crazy. And that would be a perfect way of describing it after what we just saw in top lane not that long ago.
Yeah.
But you're kind of allotted to play like that when you're this far ahead. Like, this is an IE Jinx at almost... Like, this is going to be a very quick IE for this Jinx. Should be happening soon. Will definitely happen probably before this next Drake. I'd imagine Sen would really love that, actually, to happen before this next Drake, because while Phantom Dancer is technically an item advantage for the Jinx, in terms of, like, actual damage here, the Xayah, unironically, is able to kind of keep up a little bit. Yeah, you know, so... Will be. Also, Zhao Danny has IE. Honestly, yeah, this one's just cooked. There's literally just no cope. Sorry.
So
sorry, chat. There's no cope.
How do you feel if you're top lane this game? If you're Rumble, he's in the 13 kill game where his team is just destroying the map. He is 0-0-0 down like 10 CS. He is just completely passenger status. He is the cameraman. Animosity is the cameraman this game. I mean, he did a lot on the Scion. Helped his team. Fought a lot. Okay, well, there's going to be a 1, I believe, in one of the slots. No, Animosity just forces to flash. So he's... Cameraman has to get out there. I mean, it's lore accurate cameraman, right? He's just completely invulnerable to everything.
Yeah, lore accurate.
And
he ults this wave to stall the... He ults the wave to stall this tower getting taken.
Does it even get taken on the... I don't think it does. I think the wave is dead.
It genuinely doesn't. Oh my god.
No Animosity, no assists, no kills. You can't walk up. No deaths either. Back away.
To be honest, I feel like this is perfect, right? Like, the Rumble, while it isn't getting the most value in terms of, like, team impact, it's preventing Fiora from doing anything in the side lane, right? Like, that is a win in of itself.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Yep. You're losing a tier 2 and a Drake at the same time.
At what point does DeathMark just pull the desperation trigger?
Probably now. I would probably around about now. But I'm not sure if you're allowed to pull the trigger as Syndicate are pulling the trigger onto you. Really nice catch on the Campo as he's ulting in. Sure, I don't think there's really enough that you can do there. Legacy taken down pretty low, but the reset comes through. The flash over from Duck actually does get the shutdown. That's a pretty decent amount of gold. And now Syndicate have to back off with some low health bars. Is that an assist for Animosity though? That's really what I need to know. Shazani gets a solo kill on Paradox in the river.
Definitely a kill.
Yeah, there's a kill now. All right, he's no longer a passenger.
Yeah,
he's 1-0-1.
All right. Anyways, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you're starting to bleed so much, at some point you have to just pull the desperation trigger. And I feel that a lot of teams, even looking at like tier 1 as well, like this is a very big plague for Western teams at international events. They just refuse to pull the trigger. They will just lose.
Yeah.
DeathMark at least try to find something there. And they do get a shutdown onto their Xayah. You know, Legacy being the focus there does inevitably go down. So it's not a bad look from DeathMark at all, being, you know, 7,000 gold down at 22 minutes. Duck is unfortunate because of that, though. Having to flash over the wall for the kill and having no ult, because that was utilized as... Nunez...
Certainly no jump. There's a lot of attack speed though. He's just gonna go for the tower, flashes away, and then TPs. There's no CC. Oh, there is still the knockup.
Ooh.
Doesn't get the tower, but I mean you're losing. You're getting Baron. So nice attempt. Baron's gone though.
W. This has been the kind of trades, by the way, Sin has done the entire game to get themselves in this position. someone will overextend, DME will just bite on that overextension hard, and then they end up just getting like 8 objectives because of it. So truthfully, I don't think Sin are even that mad with that. As nice group there, and we'll be able to run away. As Campo, hello. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can just go to next series next week because this one's wrapped.
I'm thinking about what I'm gonna have for lunch right about now. I'm sure Syndicate are probably doing the same thing. They're not trying to go into the tower. Paradox getting absolutely nothing done here in the mid lane, trying as he might. This might just be the game with a Jinx potentially. Could go for some more towers, and it looks like with the barrel down the mid, Syndicate are going to continue to try to end the game. And this is just a kind of disappointing second half of this game for DME. They just have nothing in this game at all.
Yep. Oh my god, like Legacy is just walking up. Finally.
He's allowed to do this. Yeah, he just gets rooted and flashes away. Will die again. A bit of an overextension here again for Legacy, but Duck takes the bomb to his face. And unfortunately, yeah, there is a second 80 carry that just hit a tower. And this one is just as fed.
I don't know if you can make that joke, to be honest.
Well, it got made.
Oh lord, Sim's taking that out of our paychecks for sure. Anyways, hey, they get one more fight. That which from their position is genuinely diabolical. They're getting one more fight. DME, hold on. Talking about like disappointing, and overall this game has been kind of disappointing for DME, but when you pick Rise, well, Nute has something to say at least.
He's saying something. I don't know if I like what he's saying. Equalizer on top. Nute's actually doing quite a bit of damage here to Mellow, but Devanor is here. We don't have our carries here at the moment. Animosity will still find Campo. And now Legacy will join the traps, and yeah, Crowverse is dead. This is... it might sound a little bit awkward, but the reason is because this game should be over, and it just isn't over yet because of the overextension. Mello will get a kill on the Paradox. Another shutdown. This is the game, though. This is the game. It is a 4 versus 1. Fiora known for her wave clear. And they'll just march in and should be able to end the game. A bit of an anticlimactic end. Game 1 was really close, really back and forth. Syndicate have just kind of had the upper hand this entire second game.
Yeah.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Problem drafting in the way that DeathMark drafted, right, is again when you do draft, like needing to win off of individual performance. If you simply just get behind, surely we're not gonna throw at the Nexus. Just hit the Nexus. All right, we're good.
Not the Vlad.
There we go. Thankfully, I mean, again. And even had they focused Legacy this game, Xiao Danny's still big in the mid lane, right? Like this is such a great comp from Dansyn with the Stars, right? Because they had 3 lanes they could have played through. They could have gotten the Rumble ahead, right? But they opted not to and put Rumble on wave clear duty against the Fiora, which is fine. But crucially, right? Debonair being able to roam kind of unlocked this game in general for Sen, and we saw that last game a little bit with the Camille. Did start to kind of backfire as DME kind of caught up to that, but it's really interesting they didn't adjust anything to their playstyle at all this game, knowing what happened last game, especially seeing the champion of Pyke, right? Like, Pyke is going to roam just like Camille is going to roam. You're on a champion, this game at least, that can at least match those roams far better than something like a Braum can match a Camille. So I just have to beg the question to DME, at what point do you get Campo out of bot lane? Because it's obviously not working where he's just sitting bot, leeching experience against a roaming support. And as it turns out, we're we're falling out of the Enchanter meta, and we're falling into the roaming support meta, right? Like that's where we're kind of moving towards. Even though there's been essentially no changes whatsoever, that's just where the game's moving towards. Like that's how the game's being played right now, and it's certainly paying off for Dancing with the Stars. Debonair having an excellent performance overall today, and in general, I think. But DME, just a very disappointing game number 2. Paradox getting absolutely exploited there on the rise. Didn't help things at all. Getting out-rotated by Zhao Danny when you have Realm Warp. We didn't even see a single aggressive Realm Warp used that entire game. Which, while this game did snowball out of control very quickly, even then, it's still a play you have to go for, because I talked about when you're on the losing hand like this, you eventually just have to do something. And a Realm Warp play is something in your, in your kit to make that play happen, right? Rather than just waiting for the enemy team to be right outside your towers and then you flip the play and hope you win it, right? Like, you have to be the ones to do something. You have to be proactive. You can't react when you're on the back foot. Otherwise, you'll just be bled out of the game just like they were this one.
Yep. DME, some things to work on coming up into the next week in Syndicate. Yeah, maybe some not clean ways to end the game, some mistakes in fights, but still a really good series from them. Looks very comfortable with their drafting and playing together. So that's very nice to see. But that's going to be all from us on the Titan stuff. I've been Jay Beto. That was Aussie. We had Shivam and Soda Pressing. So thank you to our production here so that we can cast games. Thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you guys next week, as long as we don't get sick and wake up for our alarm. See you next week.